The following podcast does contain some mature language. More importantly, it can and will contain spoilers for portions of the main scenario questline and possibly content released in patch 6.1. You have been warned. On with the show. From the many realms of Aetheris to the distant reaches of the 1st and the 13th via the magic of podcasting, this is episode 14 of A Podcast Reborn, a show celebrating our journey in the past, present, and possible future of Final Fantasy XIV. This episode's being recorded on Sunday, May 15th of 2022. You know, it really feels like a missed opportunity that we didn't record yesterday on the 14th. My name is Brian Black, otherwise known as Ro, and with me, as always, are my two amazing co-hosts. First off, we have a wise gremlin who reminds you that you should never sip tea while loading into a PvP match. Hi, Megan.
Hi. Yeah, if it's not something incredibly terrifying, it's something incredibly horny, and you're gonna spit out that tea.
Check at CatMom Megan's Twitter feed, and all will be revealed. Just don't drink any tea while you are looking at the Twitter feed. Also, with her, as always, is someone who made sure to wish his Crystal Space Mom a happy Mother's Day last week, and I warn you, he has a gecko, and he's not afraid to use it. Hi, Brandon.
Good morning / afternoon / evening, depending on when you're listening to this, everyone. So, Megan, I know you've been struggling with not really wanting to play Bard because you prefer Dancer, but I'm just curious, in all your attempts to optimize your rotation and everything, have you tried swapping races? I hear Al Ra make the best bards. You know, they really know their scales.
Oh my god.
Yeah. That was fair. I give that a...
But you could also be then you could be a horny bard.
There you go. Two for the price of one.
Yeah.
A horny bard that know their scales, yeah. Al Ra are the best bards. Clear. And, you know, another thing about Al Ra bards, I mean, when it comes to them, they have quite a tale to tell.
Oh my god.
Anyway. Yeah.
Can't start off the podcast reborn until I hear Megan groan.
With said groaning out of the way, welcome to
the end of the show, right?
Oh yeah, there's more. It begins and ends with a groan. Is that our gong to start the show and commence the show? Megan's groan at your dad jokes.
I'm not on enough Dayquil for this.
Aw, that's a shame. Well, you know, we just want to make sure we groan our numbers, right?
Oh no.
That's fake.
Experiencing a lot of groaning pains here. Okay.
Okay. I'm going to invest in some shock collars for you two. Jesus Christ. It's break glass in case of puns.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I can't help it. I'm quite the pun slinger sometimes. But anyway, so it's episode 14, and you know, most podcasts don't necessarily make a big deal out of episode 14, but hey, when you're talking about a show called Final Fantasy XIV, I think it's kind of a big deal to celebrate episode 14. Why not? It's kind of hard to believe that the Endwalker has been out as long as it's been, and then we started a few weeks before that got underway, and now we're just kind of in that regular pattern and rotation and stuff, you know, outside of things like emergency maintenance happening in a few hours as we're recording this to fix some big housing catastrophe.
I know, right? I'm probably not going to clear P3S or 4S because I waited too long. Well, okay, I have a story to freaking tell about my rating. Do you want me to just get into it?
Let's dive into it because it sounds like you need some therapy, some rage therapy. So feel free. We're here for you.
Okay, so since my static, everybody got BIS for best in slot gear for their main spec, their main job. Is that what we call them in Final Fantasy? Yes. We We all have BIS. So they're like, okay, bye. See you next raid tier. And so they disbanded the static. But I'm like, but I never got my bard weapon. And like, I kind of want to gear up summoner. So now I'm stuck in party finder trying to, clear it with randos. And I get into a party finder and like, I'm nice. I'm talkative. I'm doing P1S and P2S with a group that's like, hey, come clear, we'll do P1 and 2 like back to back. So I'm like, cool. And I get in there and one of the healers is like talking to me about stuff. And I don't know, he seemed nice. He added me as a friend and he's like, hey, we have a raid. Why don't you come on Thursday? We're clearing P3 and P4. And I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds way better than, pugging it like I am. So the first red flag was we weren't even raiding yet. Like I just wanted to do the 24 man and he just like tagged along and he was like, hey, come get in my voice chat. And I'm like, okay, well, my husband's coming too. So me and Ward are in voice chat and like we've known this man for 5 minutes and he's like, hey, I'm going to say something offensive. And I'm like, oh no.
That's always a good sign, right?
Oh boy, here we go. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, what? So he's like, so why are you a cat boy? Because Ward's Dragoon is a cat boy. Mm. And he's like, why would anyone play a cat boy? And I'm like, are you for real right now? And he's like, yeah, because everybody knows that like all cat girls are played by women. I'm on a cat girl, by the way. We're in voice chat. He knows. He can hear me speaking. And all cat girls are men and all cat boys are gay men. He knows we're married. And I am a woman. I'm just like, oh my god, what the fuck is this? And
How
I'm like,
did you not nope out of there immediately?
Because it was like a 24 man, and I'm like, I don't want to. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe he's having an off day. I'll give him a chance. I'll come to their P3 and P4 because hopefully at least I can get the clear if it doesn't work out or if I'm not a culture fit, as they say in corporate America. And so Thursday rolls around, the time for the rating, and I'm in their Discord and I'm in their link shell. And like it takes them a while to get going, and everybody's like, "Oh, I'm going to be late," whatever. I'm like, "Okay, fine." I'm just sitting around waiting, and then they're like, "Okay, we're starting with P1 and P2," and I'm like, "But you met me in a P2 pug, sir." It's like, "Oh yeah, you could just come along." I'm like, "But you said this was P3 and P4," and so I'm like, "Oh god," and I'm like, "Well, Ward hasn't done any raiding this week and they need an extra person. So I'm bringing 2 BIS, except I don't have my Bard weapon. I was running this on Bard, but I still have an eye level 600 weapon. So me and Ward are geared, to the nines, showing up to this raid. And they're just, it's P1S. And we struggle to get the clear on that because they keep being like, "Oh, I wonder what would happen if we only had 7 people alive during this mechanic instead of the 8 that we're supposed to have. Hey, somebody just run into the wall," and they do. And I'm like, "Are you serious right now? Like, sir, I am here as a favor because I was told that we were clearing P3 and P4, and you're telling me not only are we starting at P1 and 2, but we're just gonna like struggle with it and fart around and waste our time and like intentionally kill ourselves and kill each other and like what the fuck is going on?" And like they could not clear P2S, which is weird because like I met the raid leader guy like in a pug for P2S, so you'd think he would know how to do it, but they're literally like discussing it like they have no idea what the mechanics are. They're like, "Oh, that's how that works," and I'm like, "Are you for real right now?" Like I felt like very like I had been lied to because they had never cleared P3 before. Okay. And the way that they presented it to me was like, yeah, come with us for our clears of P3 and P4. I'm like, are you saying, like, please come carry us through P3 and P4? Because, like, sir, Final Fantasy doesn't work that way. I cannot, especially not as a bard, dude. Are you kidding me? Sweet Jesus, no. I'm here to, like, improve everyone else. And if they are not up to the snuff, it is not happening. And if I'm top damage, oh, that's bad. That's real bad. I'd like, oh my god. So after wiping on P2S because of lol, let's see what happens when we do this, I literally just like typed out, it's been real, and like dropped and like blocked them on everything. And I'm like,
you channeled your inner WoW raider right there.
Well, I was getting salty already because they kept doing like, let's see what's this. I want to. It's like, I want to test this. I want to test that. And I was literally like, can we please stop the testing? And he's like, oh, I want to test this. I'm like, okay, you test that. I'm testing the leave button.
It's a good one.
And he was like, oh, lol. And then he did it. And I was like, okay, I told you. Goodbye, sir. So I don't know. I've just been kind of burned out on raiding this week.
How much time was actually spent before you finally bailed? Like, how much time did you throw away to this?
I think it was like 3 hours. Like, for Final Fantasy raiding, that's not really that bad. But for like farting around in content that like is supposed to be one and done, it was very frustrating. And the thing is, like, I don't mind helping people learn, and I don't mind like new groups or inexperienced groups, or as long as they tell me that's what's going on up front.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're like, this is a learning party, can you come help us learn? I would be like, sure. You know, like my static fell apart, or my static is on a break. We were on a break, but you know, sure, I'll help, why not? But like them being like, yeah, just come for your clears, it's like, oh my god. And like me literally having to be like, oh, they don't know the really simple mechanic, like that's why we're not getting past this. And like,
what you're telling me, Megan, is that you're not really a fan of ocean fishing in Final Fantasy 14 because you, ma'am, are not fond of the bait and switch.
No, sir, I am not. So in like Party Finder, I don't know, Party Finder memeing, it is like calling things a trap party when someone puts a party up and they're like, hey, come for a quick clear, and then you get in and it's just a wipe fest. People call that a trap party. So this felt like a trap party, but like I was bamboozled here, not through Party Finder, but through like a personal invitation. It was a very strange experience.
I'm sorry you had to deal with that.
If I may quote a somewhat infamous recent fashionista / Lulu video, you got jebaited. You got jebaited.
Okay, hold on. I just have to say, Brandon.
Yes.
Your delivery of that line is so daddish. It's perfect.
Thank you.
I'm not even going to try to mimic it. It's spot on. Spot on. 10 out of 10.
It was either I do that or I try to sing the song, and that would be worse.
True. Well, hopefully you can find some more entertaining things to take up your time. You said that you've been doing more PvP. Are you getting all them costumes and everything?
At this point, I feel like PvP is a form of self-harm.
That's a clippable line if I ever heard one.
So
you're supposed to be harming other people.
I know, sir. Okay, so I've gotten really into. Everybody remembers we had Sarah on, the leader of the Stars Herald Guild. I've been getting really into RPing and making RP characters. So I made a new RP character, and she's a Viera. And for character reasons, I wanted her to have short hair, but I didn't like any of the like base short hairs. So I'm looking through the haircuts I could get, and the only one I like cost 18 1,000 wolf marks.
Wow.
And I got it.
That's commitment.
Oh, it was painful because the only classes I have unlocked are Red Mage and Sage. So most of it I was doing it as Sage because a party with no healer in it is like totally screwed. And if I don't come as a healer, there tends to not be any healers. And actually, I do enjoy doing Sage PvP if you have a group that knows to stick to the crystal and not run off fucking wherever and then like be like, oh no, I'm dead. Oh, I'm so surprised. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, some of you motherfuckers have never played Overwatch and it shows. Get on the point. Ugh.
I will say this: Overwatch did train me for Crystalline Conflict. I do try to stay on that thing as much as possible.
The worst is when like I'm the only healer in the group, which means I'm really useless by myself, and I'm the only one standing on the crystal, and like everybody else has like run off to like 1v1 someone somewhere, and then like 3 people just show up and stomp my ass, and I'm like, great, thanks, excellent. Why? Just stand on the crystal. Like, I promise you will get kills. They will come to you. Like, you can chase them off, but then come back. Like, the more people on the crystal, the faster it goes. So, for fuck's sake.
If we stay grouped up, maybe we could help each other, put debuffs on that are, AoE. What a concept.
Mm-hmm.
Could wombo combo some noobs, huh?
Yeah. And it's like, as a oh my god, I wanted to say scholar, that's not it. As a sage, you get an ability that's like a big AoE burst, but then it also puts a big shield on everybody, but you need everybody to be like stacked up because you gotta hit him with the beam. And when they're all just fucking off everywhere, I'm like, excellent. Me and one guy got my shields.
Is that what Numa does in PvP for the Sage?
I don't. Is that the like? It's like the really big fire and laser. It's.
In PvE, that's called Numa. I don't know what it's called in
I think
PvP,
it might be.
That's a different name.
Yeah, I don't read the. I know what the icons look like. I don't know what they're actually called. Look, it's been a long day. Okay. Fucking 18,000 wolf marks.
I understand. I've gone after several 14K late Allegan sets on several different characters. I have a concept for how terrifying a grind that is, and mad respect for it.
All for a haircut, baby.
All for a haircut.
I mean, I grinded long enough to get the dyeable artifact gear for my red mage, but I can't say 1,800 wolf marks. I can't even imagine. I don't even know how many wolf marks I have. I'd have to check.
You get 500 for a victory, and you get 250 for a loss.
Ro logs in and finds out he's been capped for 3 weeks.
Okay, so I'm actually I'm being a bad podcaster, but I'm actually logged into the game while we're recording this episode. There's a legit somber reason for that, and I hate to be a little bit of a buzzkill for this, but it's worth bringing up. If you played on any of the servers in the Crystal community, right now there is an in-game memorial happening for a character named Sway. I did not know this person hardly at all, but a number of friends and people that I've met and gone to some of the venues that Sway's been responsible for creating, supporting, and stuff like that have been really impacted by his loss. So I'm currently on an in-game memorial event for him. People are kind of sharing their memories of Sway and stuff like that. So for me, it's not as personal a thing because, again, didn't know Sway all that much, but I kind of wanted to show my support, at least along with, those who are definitely more devastated by his loss and stuff. So hence why I am logged in while we're recording. That being said, I have 4,000 wolf marks.
You should buy the Makai set just to get the title, and then you can work towards the mount. But
how much does the Makai set cost?
I don't know. I just buy it piece by piece.
Gotcha.
I have it all on Tarika, my other RP character.
Mm-hmm.
And you buy it all, you put it on, you talk to the NPC, you like present yourself for inspection, and she's like, yes, very fancy armor, and then she gives you a title, and you wear the title to PvP, and then you work towards a mount.
I have to say, you and Brandon are making me look real bad lately. because while I'm busy hardly being able to log in of late, I've had a lot of work stuff in my offline life going on, so I haven't been able to log into Final Fantasy XIV as much as I have. On top of that, there's in-character story. I roleplay my character. I don't talk about all the story stuff that my character gets into all that much at all. I hardly ever bring it up on the show here. I'm going to bring something up, and it's going to make regular listeners go, "What the what?" So my character is currently in a fairly long-term relationship, is engaged, and his fiance had a baby not too long ago, like literally a few evenings ago, as far as like the story and stuff goes. So my main has been more or less on paternity leave, and the past week when I have been playing Final Fantasy XIV, for the most part, I have been logging in alts and messing around on alts and stuff. So yeah. And meanwhile, speaking of alts, these two here, Megan, Brandon, you two have been creating alts, and you're messing around in the Stars Herald Guild, and I feel like I'm not pulling my weight there. So thank you for filling in for me.
I'm having a ton of fun. I have 3 characters in the guild.
Wow.
Only one of them has actually been properly introduced. And then another one is an assassin that's going to show up and be like, hey, Sarah, somebody hired me to kill you, but I'll kill them instead if you hire me. So
I see you're being a double agent, or wait, are you a triple agent?
Oh my god. Well, she wants to get out of the assassination business and into the information gathering business. So this is her way out. And then my first character is from Thavnair. She's a refugee from the final days. And she used to be a dancer, but she don't want to dance again. So she's working as a maid at the Stars Herald's office upstairs in the cafe, except she's an atrocious cook. And last night she almost poisoned Sarah and Ward's character with cookies that were half raw, half burnt because she left the oven door open.
How does that happen? Half raw, half burnt.
Yeah, the oven door was open, so half of them didn't get cooked at all, the other half got charred.
No middle ground.
Try really hard.
I mean, that takes a level of skill. I mean, like, there has to be such a thing that, like, negative 90, culinarian or something.
So, yeah, she hangs out around the Star Herald's office in her little maid uniform, being a menace. The only thing she's good at making is tea, which is why Sarah keeps her around. She also just feels bad. She's like, oh, a refugee from Thavnair. That was a very sad thing that happened in Thavnair. So, yeah. And then my third character, the one that I got the haircut for, is a Charlian Vieira, who was originally adopted by a pair of Seawolf Rogadin. So she has like a row name. But her parents had a little accident in the lab, and there's only a 20% chance that they are still alive somewhere.
Oh my.
What?
I love it.
So she's now going out to like gather information and travel the world, and is like, well, I think it's time to strike out on my own, and maybe I'll find something out that'll help find them.
I swear, you have like 3 characters with like horrible, tragic backstories. Meanwhile, my Seawolf dude is over here going like, I just want a part-time job to help pay for college.
See, the thing is, the Vera is like not tragic because she's just kind of like, well, I mean, I don't know for sure, so there's no point in being sad about it. They might be alive.
I mean,
That's
there's
still
always
pretty
hope.
tragic.
Look, man, have you played this game? Everybody has a tragic backstory.
Yes, frequently. That's why we're doing this show.
I think I just found out the episode title for this one. Episode 14, Tragic Backstory.
Well, that's the other thing is that, like, whenever I don't fully reveal the tragic backstory. I'm always like, you have to be a level 4 friend to reveal the tragic backstory.
I've totally stolen that line, by the way, when I was mentioning in Discord chat that, like, oh yeah, Alex is now a father now, and Brandon's all like, why aren't you talking more about this? And I said, oh, you have to be a level 5 friend to get that information. So I admittedly stole that from you.
I'm like, this is ridiculous. I know more about everybody else in this free company than the person who brought me into it.
It's true.
My character hasn't even met Ro.
No, not yet. Neither of them have.
I haven't done any RP yet just because I've been focused on like actually trying to level him.
True. That's where I am with the assassin. That like I want to get her up to Reaper. She has a very tragic backstory, but I guess I will reveal that because everybody's tired of all my tragic backstories.
I'm not tired of them at all.
I'm not either. I'm just going like, well, I just have a guy who's trying to pay for like whatever the Arcanist Guild equivalent is of a master's degree. So, yeah.
I just imagine him like sitting there listening to like all the tragic shit. He's like, wow, I mean, whoa.
That's rough.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, that's rough, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. This guy's very gruff and kind of no nonsense. He takes his job and is studying very seriously. And thus he's basically supposed to be like their part-time accountant. So he's basically like just there to like, you don't pay me enough to listen to this insanity. I'm going back to the numbers.
Yeah, Turiko lives in the attic. I finally got a free company room and decorated it. And I found these wall pieces that are like slanted, like it's an attic loft. And I was like, it was just called a skylight. And so I was like, oh, I could put a skylight over the bed. And I like brought it, you place the object, it's fucking massive. I'm like, whoa, Jesus. And I was like, oh, I could make this into like a loft, like an attic loft. Like, oh, that sounds like fun. And that it also makes sense because it's like a maid and her catboy boyfriend are sharing it. So they're not very rich. They sleep on a futon.
That's great. Brandon, outside of your Seawolf who's just looking to pay his tuition, what stuff have you been up to over the past couple weeks?
Honestly, not much other than that. Just, leveling him up, doing the new version of Summoner as, low level, seeing how that progresses over time, how that, works as you level and add new abilities, see how, have they smoothed out the leveling curve? Spoiler alert. Yes, they have. It's really, it's really well designed. I kind of like it. The main cool thing that actually happened last night when my mains free company was doing their weekly map night. Grab a bunch of treasure maps, go run them, see what happens. It was kind of a hot and cold night. We'd go through stretches where we got no treasure dungeon portals whatsoever, and then we'd get one and they'd kick us out before we hit floor 3. Then near the end we hit a streak where we were getting like 5 clears, and I think we ended up getting 3 of them that night.
A streak of 5 clears.
Yeah, where every time we got a portal, we'd make it to the 5th floor and take the boss out.
Wow.
I don't know if it was the last one or the second to last one, but once we dropped the boss, it dropped a resplendent feather.
Ooh.
And it also activated the Gambler's Lure.
Oh, no. Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay, so I know about this resplendent feather. It's a trade-in for a mount, and you need 3 feathers.
You need 3 of them.
Right.
And Gambler's Lure, if you haven't done Treasure Dungeon, is it basically gives you, here's a suite of rewards. You can choose to risk them to double it. And we'll basically do it with a game of high-low. We'll flip over a card, and you have to guess that the value of the next card will be higher or lower than the first card.
And the resplendent feather is worth millions last I checked on the market board.
Someone price checked it, and it was at 1.4 million on our free.
Okay, it's dropped a lot since the patch came out, but there was a point where it was up for like 6 to 8 million a feather.
Now, one of my free company mates, I didn't ask his permission, so I'm not going to say his name beforehand. I didn't ask his permission beforehand. Sorry, I tripped over my words there. He has one of them, and he was desperate to get 2 more because he wants that mount. Because if you don't know what the mount you get is, it's called the Alkanos, and it's a weird bird, seahorse, antelope hybrid thing that is apparently a fairly well-known boss in the Bajan Southern Front. Ooh. And this person spent a lot of time in the Bajan Southern Front pre-Endwalker, and probably post-Endwalker, I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, he wanted this, and so when the Gambler's Lure popped up, he's like, oh my goodness. We hit it twice and got the reward doubling. So we had 3 feathers on the line. Ooh. And the card was it was either a 4 or a 6. And so the person whose map it was, and that person has control over whether or not you continue, said, nope, we're done.
Right.
Accept the rewards. Now, when the resplendent feathers drop, you roll for the stack. Right. You don't roll for each feather individually. So I'm like, well, all right. And this person, our free company mate, is like, look, whoever wins this, I will buy them off of you.
Yeah.
But then we got 3, and everybody was like, well, now we can just, whoever wins it can just go get them out.
Yeah.
I clicked need. I won it.
Oh.
Nice.
Oh, man.
Instant mount.
Instant mount. So I went, while we were, I think our next, after that dungeon was over, we had to go take a break to either pick up more maps off retainers or go, dig up another one or cut another one out of a tree. I don't know how that works. I teleported to Rats at Hand, bought that thing and stuck it on my toolbar and just flew on it the rest of the night. It was great.
That's awesome. Wow.
Now, was my free company mate happy about it? Not really, but he understood entirely.
I mean, I know with those map runs that your group does, it's free for all. And that there have been times when I've gone on map runs with them, and there are times where, something big drops off of someone's map and someone else gets the big drop. Sometimes that's been me. Sometimes it's been the other way around. It's just kind of, you accept that's how the free for all thing works on map runs. There's some, like when I look at Party Finder, most of the map runs there are your map, your loot, which is fine too, but that can feel bad for the people who spend all that time only to find that their map doesn't even have a portal.
Yeah.
So I'm more a fan of free for all.
Yeah, we figure everyone's contributing to killing the monsters and inside and outside the portal. Mm-hmm. Everyone should have an equal opportunity chance at loot, and it'll eventually even itself out over time. I mean, we do this every week, and we usually have at least a full party worth of attendance. Sometimes we have so much we need to split into multiple groups.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I can attest to that for sure. Well, congratulations on the mount.
Thank you.
Well earned.
Well, here's the weird thing. I have 2 characters who have at least 1 or 2 level 80 jobs in that free company. Mm-hmm. And so I asked them, hey, do you want the old man here or the cat girl? And they're like, cat girl. I'm like, all right, why not? I haven't done a map night this expansion on her yet. And she's the one who gets the mount. Oh, well. Man. What are you going to do?
I've more or less said that I haven't had a whole lot of time to play. I've been playing on alt some, so I've been kind of meddling around with this, that, and the other thing. But I haven't done any super serious gameplay of late. So I'm going to kind of skip what I've been up to. What I would like to get to, because I think that this will have enough conversation to probably take us to the end of the show, is talk about the gold saucer for a little bit. And you might recall, if you listened last episode, that I put out a little bit of a giveaway contest. If you emailed us, let us know what you want to see in the gold saucer. I'd pick a random email to win $25 of stuff from the online store. Of course, I'm going to make you wait until the end of the show to find out who. But I do want to get through these emails, and some of them are short and sweet, and some of them not so much. And a couple, I think one or at least one, maybe two, belong to people who have been paying attention to the show for a while and actually have written previous emails. So I don't even have show notes up for Megan and Brandon here, so I'm just reading these myself. This will be the first time that they hear this, and I figure we'll just kind of go email by email. If either of you want to jump in with comments and stuff, go on. And as far as what each of us would like to see in the Gold Saucer, if anyone here brings up something that matches what your answer would have been, feel free to jump in or just see. Oh yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. All right. The first email here is from Ben, not the Ben that you think, Brandon. The email says, "Thanks for the contest. I hope you get some good replies. I say we need to get the motorcycle game like FF7's Gold Saucer had. Just an auto runner or auto biker with some light combat. I had a lot of fun with just the FF7 version, and I think it'd be great in FF14. A bit more out there would be if they brought the Battle Square, also from FF7's Gold Saucer. It would be fun to have a combat method of getting some MGP and maybe a leaderboard for those hoping for fame. Thanks for the podcast to Ben." Ben took my answer, which was the Battle Square or a Coliseum. I would like to have, and I mean, basically for those who have played WoW, this would essentially be Final Fantasy's version of the Brawlers Guild. One-on-one matches with bosses that, are going to have abilities and dance mechanics that would lend themselves, I think, well to Final Fantasy, because Final Fantasy already does that. But yeah, I think that a solo fighting thing with like Brawlers Guild-esque things would be great.
How much Boja did you do?
Oh, I'm familiar with the one-on-one duels. So yeah, I know that there's something like that in duels.
I don't think that it would be that hard to implement because they've done that kind of thing before, which means they have some experience programming 1v1 fights. And yeah, I would be super into that. I used to love Brawlers Guild.
Not only that, but the Masked Carnival for Blue Mages is also kind of a similar arrangement where you're doing like one-on-one duels and you have to, use the right and or, best combination of Blue Mage spells in order to get through them. So
yeah, I haven't.
Baja duels are not the only experience they have with this. So it could be a pretty neat addition to the Gold Saucer.
Yeah, I think it would be it would have to be someone's pet project. I think. At school.
I also, one thing that, Ben brings up FF7 a lot. One of the cool things that FF7's Battle Square had, if I recall, is that there would be it would show itself as like a slot spinning modifier, but the fights would have random modifiers to it each time you did them. So I could see something like that being tossed into the fight. Like there'd be a basic maybe there'd be like a normal mode where it's just the regular fight with the mechanics as you know them. But then maybe there's a savage version of Battle Square where those random modifiers could be applied.
And you know what I really liked about Brawlers Guild was the fact that it all happened in real time in real space. Yeah. And you could watch other people do it and you could see their strategies. You could cheer for them. Something like that would be really fun. And I could see myself just sitting, we could all sit in a stand and emote at people. That would be a lot of fun.
For sure. I think it'd be a great spectator thing too. I'd spend half a day just watching people fight and stuff. And not only that, but one of the cool things about that is and the way that, FF14 fights tend to be, you could watch the fight and probably learn something from it too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea, man.
It is. The next email is from Felix, aka Caldoro, on the Balmung server. He says, "Hi there, friends. Congrats on 14 episodes. I absolutely love the show. Here's to many more. As for your question, Ro, what I would love to see added to the Gold Saucer are poker tables and slot machines. I know they can't for legal reasons, but poker is my IRL gambling go-to, and I would really like to see it. Anyway, keep up the awesome work. I've followed Ro for a long time as a WoW player, and I'm so happy to get to listen to you all now as a not-quite sprout in FF14. Your friendly neighborhood PLD, Felix, a.k.a. Caldoro Balmung. Well, Felix, I just want to say, if you're looking for some gambling that's not you'd find in the Gold Saucer, I suggest you check the Party Finder every once in a while between the hours of 6:30 and 8:30 Eastern Time on the Diablo server, a little thing called the Crimson Casino. Be happy to help you there.
He says they can't add that for legal reasons. I don't understand why. They already have several real world games in there, like Mahjong, or even just the simple carnival games.
The one with the numbers. The
Cactpot, the Jumbo Cactus and the Mini Cactpot. Those are essentially just lotteries.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as you can't bet anything that can be converted into real world currency, I don't see why they couldn't do this if they just kept it with MGP.
Right. Also, I will say that Square Enix is not one to shy away from slot machines in their video games. I will point out one of the more recent Dragon Quest games where there was a big slot machine game in it with a lot of prizes and a lot of grinding you could do to get points to trade in for really cool stuff.
They also have All the Bravest. And they have the Chocobo racing game, which I've heard is just a microtransaction machine, which is the main reason why I didn't buy it.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to getting that just because we love playing Mario Kart in this house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, another Mario Kart game with, characters from the franchise I like that I can share with my kids. This is going to be great. No, it's a microtransaction infused hellscape. No.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
I've heard bad things.
For kids. That's the worst, is when it's all cute and kid friendly, and it's make the kids cry to their parents for the fucking V-Bucks. The worst.
But it's only your credit card. It's just plastic, Mom. Come on.
It's just on the internet. Every now and then you hear one of those stories about a kid who took their parents' credit card and spent $10,000 in Fortnite or whatever the other ones are.
Mom, you can do without one Fantasia this month, can't you?
I feel attacked right now.
If Butterscotch was playing Final Fantasy 14.
I just remember Ward was playing and I was on my button, and then he's like, "Oh, you log it out to log on to a different character?" I'm like, "No," because I bought a boost. He's like, "I'm not surprised, but I am disappointed." And I'm like,
all right.
I'm not surprised, just disappointed.
Yep. Okay. Okay.
Sorry.
Next.
It's I'm sorry. It's like that meme of "Help, I'm bad at budgeting." It's food $5, Fantasia $1,000. So Final Fantasy 14 optional items $1,000. Spend less on Final Fantasy 14. No. I have a problem. And if I can't pay for it with real money, then I pay for it with my soul.
Indeed.
Got dark real freaking quick.
What, you don't think getting 18,000 wolf marks cost me a little piece of my soul?
Well, I suppose that's
true. I'm sorry. Please continue.
Yeah. Who's next,
it's all right.
please?
I'm going to read a portion of this first email that's actually from a little bit ago, from Melly. And I may not read the whole email here because it's a little bit lengthy, but I want to try to read some of the important parts because she did write a little bit back. She said, "Hey folks, I'm loving your podcast. Enjoy the witty banter, dad jokes, and ability to experience savage content vicariously. I've also learned stuff."
See, people like the dad jokes.
People like the reading.
I've I've also learned stuff. Didn't even know that macros were a thing, let alone possible to use to craft HQ items, and didn't realize there was a party finder still a sprout, though I finally started Endwalker. I'm a fellow WoW refugee myself, made the move 8 months ago or so ago and never looked back. I think by now it'd be like 10 months because this email is from like a month and a half or so back, actually. I knew I was in the right place with your podcast when I heard Brian talk about Ysayle. She's still one of my favorite NPCs in the game, and I found her story heartbreaking. I didn't move forward in the MSQ for a week because I couldn't stand to follow Estinian and leave her behind on the mountaintop alone. I eventually moved on, but I still slap Estinian whenever I see him, including the surprising number of players who have his name and appearance. I'm facing a dilemma and hoping you folks have some advice. Boy, did you come to the wrong place. Oh, here we go. I moved my main from Diablos to a new Oceania Bismarck server where they opened up back in January. I'm based in the US, but thought it might be a good way to get access to a house as Diablos is full. This was written before the lottery. I started my own FC, and as of today, we can finally access housing on the new servers. Diablos was too full, but I'm finding the Oceania servers, Bismarck in particular, too empty. There's rarely anything up on Party Finder, no gambling, which I'm now interested in thanks to Brian. that casino RP working its way. And it's tough to fill groups for anything, especially given the significant time difference. I have a couple good people in the FC, but we're never on at the same time. Plus, I notice a little bit of lag in Dungeons and Regs, which concerns me. I like the idea of my own FC and want to buy a house, but not sure if I should spend the gil if my future isn't in Oceania. I almost have enough gil for medium, but we'll probably buy a small for now. There was talk of new North American data centers scheduled for this spring or early summer. Have you heard anything more? I don't think they're doing it anytime very soon, because I think that one with like the chip shortage and stuff like that, that's been pushed to like more toward the end of the expansion, if I recall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So nothing super immediate there. She goes on to say, do you like your own servers? Is there another one you would move to if you had the chance? If so, which one? I'm pretty chill, taking my time with the MSQ to enjoy the story. I like a little Elzen RP, but not a big fan of ERP PDA. Get a room already. Otherwise, just looking for a little more critical mass. Sophia or Ravana may eventually get there, but Bismarck is a ghost town. Megan, I love that you went ahead and formed your own FC. Are you going to buy a house? If so, where, and are you recruiting? Again, this email was written from a little bit back. The times have changed a bit. Also, I seem to remember an episode or two ago where you all expressed dislike for Gridania. Why? Finally, do you welcome comments, questions? Would love to continue the conversation. Well, I'm sorry I'm getting to this conversation several weeks or even a couple months later, but I thought I'd finally get up to it now.
Man.
She then... I brought this email up because then she had sent in a shorter email, which was just a reply to the Gold Saucer thing. She said, I'd love to see a karaoke bar in the Gold Saucer. Something similar to the Bard music player where you can pick out songs and perform them in a way unique to each race.
Yes, I want it. I want it so bad. I taught myself how to play Carol's Whisper to Carol's Whisper, so...
Very nice.
You know how down I would be for that. Oh my gosh! But I want to address the other thing.
Yes.
Butterscotch Battalion is absolutely recruiting. It's only me and Ward in the free company right now. We are planning to get a free company house, but free company had to be 30 days old to get a house when the housing lottery first came up, and then everything's been fucked since then. So we are planning to get a house. We're thinking about getting a medium, and we're gonna just decorate it with like all fat cat furniture, and it's not really, because the thing is I always mix up which one is which. Where you want to be as far as like server clusters really depends on what you want to do, and so if you really want to raid, then you want to be on the one with Gilgamesh. I know it's Ether or Crystal, but Ether. You want to be on Ether. That's where all the serious raiding happens. That's where the party finders are plentiful. That's where it's easy to find a static. But it's really hard to find like anybody that wants to RP, anybody that, you know, takes the lore seriously or anything like that. Like a lot of people just skip the story because they just want to do the raiding, or they just want to, you know, it's a more classic, it's more classic MMO experience. But Crystal is where you should go if you are more interested in RP and the more like casual side of things, like doing casino stuff or doing just like, you know, crafting and house building and all that stuff. And yeah, I would say do not buy a house anywhere that you're not planning to stay forever, because me and Ward both have houses on Gilgamesh, and so we feel like really entrenched there. Gilgamesh is also where Butterscotch Battalion is, by the way, if anybody wants to come join. We're not around as much anymore because now we're over on Diablos role playing,
which she moved away from to Oceania.
Yeah,
the irony.
So yeah. Shit, what was I talking about? Oh my god, my brain today. I PvP'd it right up my ear.
What you were saying about don't get a house in Bismarck, yeah.
Do not get a house, because then we were like, oh, if I move servers, I'm gonna lose my house. Because I remember when we were getting like wound up for Endwalker, and we didn't even know how bad the queues were gonna be. We were like, oh, it'd be really nice if we could switch to a less populated server, because oh boy, those queues at the start of Endwalker were killer. And for Gilgamesh, it was like, I remember I was so like jelly of you guys getting like 1 hour. We were like 3 hours or more. It was real bad. And yeah, like when you buy a house, because houses are so hard to get, it's that like sunk cost fallacy. You really don't want to leave it. And like, honestly, having a house has been like the number one reason why we've never stopped playing Final Fantasy since we started, because if you like lapse your subscription, you'll lose your house if you're gone for like however many days. So yeah, like,
you know, it's funny you say that, because man, I really, really, really try. I try not to often rip on World of Warcraft, but I will simply say, you know, World of Warcraft has had a problem retaining players lately. If they had player housing in like FF14 had player housing, they'd probably be retaining more players.
True. Well, they're going after the furry market, the like furry whale market, with the dragon people.
True.
And so I think it only makes sense to put in a bunch of cosmetic stuff. I think that the brilliance of Final Fantasy is that they let you have your own private instances if you want to RP things that maybe should not be RP'd in public, because ERPers are very loyal players. They keep coming back. So, you know, there's nothing like that. And like, just to even have like a private conversation in World of Warcraft. I did RP in World of Warcraft quite a lot back in the day, and it would always be really awkward because you're just like sitting at the inn in Silvermoon, and like, you know, there's like, you know, elf number 5-4 like running through, or like, you know, Johnny Boy 69 coming over and popping squats on your table and then running off.
Yeah,
and you know, there was no support for role playing in World of Warcraft. Like if you role play in World of Warcraft, you're kind of a weirdo, and I say that as someone who admits to it, having done that a lot back in the day. But like, I also raided a lot, and I remember like when you were around a bunch of hardcore raiders and they find out like that you role play on your off days, they're like, "What?" They assume some things about you, okay? They're not all correct. It's just a lot of them.
I don't go to the Goldshire Inn, honest.
No. Oh my god. Well, sadly, back in the day when I very first started playing World of Warcraft, I did used to hang out at the Goldshire Inn because that was like the only place I could find people.
But not on Moonguard.
No, not on Moonguard. I can't even remember what server I was on. But I was on like a little human warrior girl running up being like, "Hi, want to be friends?" Oh my god.
And now look how far you've come.
High fidelity cleavage. No more boobs that move while you breathe.
burning half a cookie and leaving the other half raw.
It's character development, god damn it.
All right,
Wow.
let's go to the thanks for the email, Mel. Let's go to the next email here. This one I believe is from Lefty. Hey y'all, great podcast. I've been listening since episode 4. I wanted something different or more casual for my FF14 content listening, so I did a search in Apple Podcasts and saw this and listened to the first 4 episodes back to back. Kind of anyway. I have an hour commute to work, so I listen to a lot of podcasts. Y'all were my source of content for a couple days and every 2 weeks since. It's nice to listen to casual fans from different areas of the game talk about what they're doing or like to do. Anyway, I don't mean to go on too much here, just keep up the great work. As for what I'd like added to the Gold Saucer, I'd like it to be shogi. I've always wanted to learn it as I'm a pretty casual, regular chess enjoyer, and shogi has all sorts of different rules. I've never had another person interested in it enough to properly learn. If added to 14, all sorts of people would be learning or playing it, and I'd have an actual avenue to get into learning it. I learned basic strategy of Mahjong because it was added to the Gold Saucer a while back, and I just think shogi would make a great addition. Again, you guys are awesome. Have a good one. The only time I've even heard of the game of shogi was playing Persona 5.
Like, you have to be a pretty big weeaboo. You have to be.
Lisa explains why I've never heard of it. I have no idea what this was.
It's basically Japanese chess. The other big Japanese game is Go, with the little white and black marbles that you put on board.
Yeah.
But shogi's it looks like a chessboard. It's got little wooden pieces. They can move in different ways. It's very similar to chess, which I only know the very surface level of from, all of my Japanese animes.
You've absorbed basic knowledge through osmosis by anime.
Yeah, basically. Like, I'm aware of its existence. I've seen characters play it and talk over it and, inner monologue about stuff. I don't know the rules at all. I've never watched, a shogi anime. I'm sure there are some. They make anime about everything.
There has to be.
I did read Hikaru no Go, which was a shonen battle anime about playing the board game Go. It was very, very exciting. Drawn, illustrated by the same illustrator who illustrated Death Note, by the way.
Oh.
Who's an incredible illustrator. And, he made eating potato chips exciting, so, he could do anything.
I never looked at potato chips the same way again after watching that scene. I'll take a potato chip and eat it.
No comment.
Have you not seen Death Note, sir?
No.
Oh,
really?
Come on, Brandon.
Sir, it's on Netflix. It's dubbed. It is like
a lot of things are on Netflix. Doesn't mean I've watched them.
It's the gateway anime, okay? Watch it. You'll like it. It is good.
You will like Death Note, Brandon.
Absolutely. It is right up your alley.
I will give it... the rule in my family when we're trying out a new show, we give it 3 episodes.
Okay.
If we don't like it after that, we drop it like a sack of, I don't know, something.
A bit of advice, though. 27. Stop at 27.
Oh, yeah. Yes. And basically,
okay.
I don't want to spoil anything, but...
Yeah, just when you get to 27, it's a good run. There's more after that. You don't need it. It's fine.
You'll know what we
with a
mean.
lot of confidence here, you two.
You'll okay.
No, 1 to 27 of Death Note is marvelous. Everything after 27.
Imagine if the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones came to a satisfying conclusion, and then they kept going and made it stupid after that.
Isn't that exactly what happened?
No, there is no satisfying conclusion. There is no satisfying conclusion after 4 seasons. It just
fair enough.
farts the bed.
I read the first 2 Game of Thrones books, hated them, and never got into the show as a result.
Oh. Yeah, I have a complicated history with Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Next email, and this one's the shortest one of the replies. This is from Marigast. If I could add anything to the Golden Saucer, I would add Blitzball from Final Fantasy X. You and thousands and millions of other Final Fantasy XIV players, and I'm telling you right now, don't hold your freaking breath. I think we will see that FF7 motorcycle minigame before we see Blitzball. I get it. Blitzball was fun. I loved playing Blitzball in Final Fantasy X. I probably played Blitzball half as much as I played the rest of the damn game because I just thought Blitzball was that much fun. But I don't know. I just don't think it would translate well.
Yeah,
I mean, let's be real. It's a ridiculously dumb concept, even for the setting it's in. You play in a giant ball of water without any ability to breathe, and you're supposedly holding your breath that whole time.
Yep. Hey, it's Final Fantasy.
I mean, we can play it. We have water breathing.
Right.
Yeah.
Warrior of Light goes in versus another team. They all drown. You win.
Wait, that's going to be part of the quest line for Blitzball. Anyone who wants to play Blitzball is going to have to go get that blessing.
Oh my god! Or like you have like an
so
AI.
So you basically can't unlock it until you're halfway through Stormblood.
Yeah. Yep. You've got like an AI team, and you got to bring them to the Kojin.
Yep.
And then you got to.
Yep. I like it. We got this figured out. But yeah, I mean, it's a good idea. It's a popular idea. I don't see it happening anytime soon. I think there's a lot of other things that they would do first. But I mean, been proven wrong before. Go ahead.
I realize this is going to get us off on a tangent, but I have to say it. I don't understand why people enjoy Blitzball.
I don't either.
I played it, the required amount you have to for the story of Final Fantasy X. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the first time they introduce you to the game, you're basically going up against the friggin' all-star team, and you have to play like expertly or else you get stomped.
Yeah.
And they don't really do a very good job of telling you how to play the game or give you any decent strategies. I had no idea what I was doing when I went in there, and I found the entire experience so disheartening, I never touched it again.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not here to play sport. I'm here to fight.
Also, there's also that. I'm like, can I just beat these clowns up or something?
Sir, I have a sword.
Like, you want to play Blitzball? Here, let me introduce you to Waka when it's his turn in the ATB system.
It's true. I mean, his weapon is the Blitzball, so why isn't he just raining dudes?
Yeah. All right. Thank you for the email, Marigast. We have one final email, and that is from Steven. Steven writes, since the Golden Saucer is based upon the one in Final Fantasy VII, I think it would be fun to have a dating sim-like minigame that you can take your favorite NPC on dates. Boy, you know how to speak to the heart of this crew, don't you? Or have a hidden meter that tracks your NPC interactions and have surprise dates like you could in Final Fantasy VII. Maybe add a reputation-like meter to the dating sim, much like the Beast Tribe meter, that would unlock new items to purchase with MGP. Thank you, Steven.
They already have like dating sim-esque quests where you have to like choose the right dialogue options to. There's like the one where you have to like make Nuz Chai feel better about himself, and then there's the one where you have to sell the fish, and like you could just they have like it's in the game already. They just have to plug in the right the setting and the character models and the dialogue and like give it to me.
So
let me date them.
Yeah, let's be real here. They're never going to put in enough possible NPCs to satisfy the entire player base.
Oh my god.
Well, not only that, I think they've even commented on this in a live letter. I feel like I remember in a live letter it being brought up about like, dating NPCs and stuff like that. And they're real hesitant to do it with, with Scion characters or such like that, just because, it'd be complicated and tricky as far as lore and story, and like how do you tell that story differently for each character, each warrior of light and such like that.
it could be like, oh, you're hanging out at the Golden Saucer and playing mahjong or whatever together,
Sure.
or like go to the chocobo races. It doesn't have to be like a date. It could just be like, I just like character interactions, you know?
Yeah.
And that way, if you make it friendly, then you can include the like underage characters, because I do not want to go on a
Right.
date with Alice, but I would love to go to the Golden Saucer with Alice.
And that sounds cool, but you know that if they did it that way, people would be like, "But this isn't what we wanted. We wanted that." I can't say it. We
Okay,
wanted
but
to him.
At what reputation do I unlock the X-rated cutscenes? Oh Lord, sorry. That just reminded me of
Reputation
like
level banned. That one.
oh my god,
Yeah.
back in the day, back before Cyberpunk 2077 came out. At like there was that meme tweet of like someone tweeting at the devs of like, how are the sex scenes gonna work? I want to be able to choose positions and stuff. I'm like, blah blah blah. And then they're like, sir, this is a video game, and like linked him to Pornhub. Like, yes, there would absolutely be people who are like, come on. But you know, if you just don't give us the ability to dress them up, because
oh man,
we're gonna abuse it.
you thought adventurer plates were risque.
I've
Ladies
seen
and gentlemen,
some.
may I present to you a million Slevayur?
Are you ready to see bondage Grahatia?
Oh God, no!
I'm just saying.
It doesn't suit him, okay? It does. He's a soft boy, and that's what we love about him. Yeshua, on the other hand,
I mean, she did ask us, hey, none of that cheek, or I'm going to take you over my knee.
yeah. I mean, look,
I'm like, where's
no vanilla woman wears those boots.
Oh dear Lord!
They
I
go
think we
all
got
the way
way
up,
off track
man.
here.
They go all the way up. Just saying.
Yeah.
That's too many laces for a normal person.
Well, big thank you to everyone who sent in an email. Definitely provided just the right amount of conversation stuff, and I'm glad we were able to reply on those and take them into weird, strange places you probably did not expect us to. As for the winner, I actually even rolled using the random roll in game as I'm logged into the game, still logged in right now. And I determined that Lefty is the randomly selected winner. So congratulations, Lefty. I will get in touch with you via email sometime over the next week and to make arrangements to get you gift codes for up to $25 of stuff from the online store. So big grats to Lefty. And I don't think that giveaways will happen on this show super frequently, just because I'm not made of money and I'm not doing anything like a Patreon or something like that. But episode 25, possibly. So stay tuned. But yeah, that pretty much does it for me and everything I want to talk about today. Is there anything burning on your guys' minds that you wanted to talk about before we wrap up?
Well, did we get everybody's suggestions on this show for what we wanted to add to the Gold Saucer? Because I know I didn't say mine.
Oh yeah.
I only mentioned that I agree on the battle square, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I don't know. More haircuts. That's all I want.
More haircuts that don't require 18,000 wolf marks.
Yes. More haircuts for Vieira. God damn it.
So for me, I want the snowboarding minigame from 7, and I have a reason why.
Okay.
Back in the day when Final Fantasy 7 was like, the PlayStation game du jour, I had a weekly visit with some of my cousins at their house where, while the adults would get, sit together and play dominoes or whatever, we'd hang out in the gaming area downstairs. I'd bring my PlayStation over and we'd, play different games every week. I brought Final Fantasy 7 along just to show them, hey, this is what I've been playing lately. There's not much we can do multiplayer wise. But then I walked around and showed them the Gold Saucer, and they loved it. And they especially loved the snowboarding minigame in there. And so we would just take turns doing runs down the slope and see, how many, I didn't even remember what the scoring system was, or even if there was one, just to see like what kind of shenanigans we could get up to. So I have a soft spot, for that game, and I'd like to see a recreation of it in 14 if such a thing is even possible.
I think that's more likely than the motorcycle thing. I also think that's more likely than Blitzball.
I think that would be really cute. I would be super down for that. And they could even introduce like a whole like snowboarding apparel set and like some accessories. Like you could have the goggles that you just like put on.
Oh my gosh.
Everyone's going down those slopes in bikinis.
Absolutely.
Winter gear transmog that could be bought with MGP.
Mm-hmm. It would be super cute. And it would be really fun. Absolutely. I would love that. And like you could even have like it could be like an indoor snow area in the Golden Saucer. That would be really cute too. Like maybe they could add another saucer, another disc.
And you could have a snowboard mount, which would then, just by virtue of the fact that it has to fly, means that we'd have Back to the Future hoverboards in Final Fantasy 14. So
now you're talking. That is amazing. Let's do it.
Yeah, I would be totally on board for that.
Yeah.
On board? Really?
Gotcha.
Wow. That was a ninja.
I learned it from you. I learned it from watching you.
I'm so proud right now.
All right. Let's wrap it up here for now.
I'm more proud than if you hadn't done that on purpose.
There's only so many more dad jokes I can take, so we need to end this soon. That is pretty much going to do it for us. Megan, as you continue to learn from us, where can people find you and your shenanigans?
On Twitter at CatMomMegan. It's MEATAN. There you can find my webtoon, links to my Tumblr, see pictures of Butterscotch, our cat, and all of my random like silly comics and stuff that I do about the game. Yeah. That's
all right. And Brandon, how about you?
Just head over to twitter.com/thebmat and you'll see lots of whatever I feel like talking about. And there's also a link to my profile to everything else I've got going on. And expect to see a lot of pictures of our new pet. Wow. A crested gecko named Ginger. I expect she'll be taking over my Twitter feed very soon.
She's super cute. She looks like she has big eyelashes.
Yup.
Oof.
As for myself, you can find me on Twitter at ROWCR. That's RHOWCR. You can find the Twitter for this show at A Podcast Reborn, and you can email us like several people did recently at apodcastreborn@gmail.com. We'll have to have a giveaway to be reading your emails. I'm going to be checking those a bit more frequently too, so whether you wrote us an email recently or where you'd like to send us an email and you haven't done so yet, feel free. We will definitely interact with you. We enjoy it, and it gives Megan and Brandon fuel to go into strange, interesting places that you probably never wanted them to go.
We will give you advice, but it will be terrible.
Yes.
But it will be advice.
It will be entertaining, I'm sure. The theme for our show is Alex Moukala's Imagined Boss theme for Endwalker. You check out his YouTube channel for more great music. A link to that can be found in the notes for this podcast. That music, any other derivatives of Final Fantasy XIV music you may happen to hear on this podcast belong to Square Enix, and no copyright infringement is intended. That is going to do it for episode 14. We'll be back in roughly 2 weeks. For Megan, for Brandon, and as always for Butterscotch, this is Brian Black. Until next time, may your loot rolls be high, your glamour fantastic, and your duties always complete. Brandon.
So I had a chance to interview Hesperos, the boss of P4/P4S, about what it's like being beaten up by the Warriors of Light every week. He said, it's pretty rough, but there is a bar where all of us raid bosses meet up and drink to relax, and it really helps him to deal with, the demotivating part of the job. I asked him what his favorite drink was. He said, be positive.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm tired.